Hello, welcome back to another FPL video. I hope everybody is well. My word, it is so nice to have this fresh head of hair. I know I've said it already, but it just feels good, it feels good. And that being said, I feel good about the coming game week as well, game week 12. That's what we're going to be looking ahead towards today in this video. If you're new around here, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoy the video, obviously. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. First things first, let's take a little look back at game week 11. How I fared, how the sort of team went on, and how everyone else sort of went on as well, and how it affected the overall rank. So the game week average for this week was 62. That's unbelievably high. That's the highest it's been so far this season. A lot of the big hitters, the likes of Salah, the likes of De Bruyne, the likes of Son, all absolutely popping off this weekend. So if you had those guys, you'll be in for a good week. So I myself this weekend managed to bring up a nice cool little 101 points. Did the old little bish bash bosh and whipped out the 100 points. So actually the first time I've ever got 100 points without playing a chip in an FPL game week. So pleased to say I was very happy at the weekend. That Sunday literally just went unbelievably well for me. Zaha popping off, then Son popped off, and lo and behold, Salah popped off as well. So it was a very good game week for me. And as we'll see later, it was a nice little green arrow, as would be expected. So this takes me to a total of 664 points. Not too shabby at all. So my previous rank was 1.3 million, which is, it's not too bad at this point of the season. Still plenty of the season left to go. And there's just plenty of time to rank up. And the new rank for this game week was 490k. That's gaining almost 800,000 places in a single game week. I mean, a score like that can literally do that for you. Very pleased with that, considering where I was and considering where I now am, to sort of be on the 490k and really try and sort of push for that top 100k, maybe by the new year, but we'll see. I could definitely have some lows after that very big high last weekend. So before we take a look at how the team lines up for this coming weekend, first let's take a little look at the fixtures, sort of the results that I'm predicting for this weekend. Obviously I'm going to be kind of a little bit biased in obviously the team I support and how I want these games to go in terms of my FPL players, but I'll try and put a little neutral proverbial cap on to assess these games. So we start off with Leeds versus West Ham, two teams that have been pretty good attacking of late, and Leeds have actually shored up a little bit defensively recently. I actually saw an interview with Marcelo Bielsa, who's basically asked, are you going to keep West Ham guessing about the team lineup news? And then he went on to just list his old lineup for the weekend. So if you were thinking about any Leeds options, go and check that interview out, and he's literally just listed the lineup for this weekend. So very nice of you, sir. But with regards to the result in this one, I definitely think there will be goals. Leeds, of every single game, look like they will be scoring, which is why Patrick Bamford has been such a good option so far this season. It seems as though Haller has sort of found his spot in that West Ham side and looks like he's going to be starting at least this game, this coming weekend. So I see goals in this game, but I think Leeds will end up nicking it. I think I'm going to go for 2-1. A nice little result for them. Then we move on to Wolves versus Aston Villa. Now, in normal times, or over the past few seasons, I would be predicting Wolves to sort of comfortably win this game at home to Aston Villa. However, Aston Villa have just had a 2-week rest where they've been able to train for that whole bit of time, so that 2-week rest definitely will have helped them prepare for this game. And against a Wolves side that hasn't really played too well recently. So, obviously with like FPL asset-wise, you'd be hoping the likes of Grealish, probably Watkins, even the likes of Martinez are very highly owned, whereas the Wolves assets aren't too highly owned. Maybe Kilman, but whether he starts, I don't know. So I think Aston Villa will definitely score in this game. I'm actually going to go with a 2-2. I think Pedro Neto, Traore have been looking really good going forward. Maybe we'll get to see a little bit of Fabio Silva, as Jimenez will be out for quite a long time. Then we have Newcastle versus West Brom, and this game is still actually yet to be determined whether it's going to go ahead. We may get some more news in the coming few days or so. But if this game does go ahead, you would expect Newcastle to nick this one, especially with the fact that Mateus Pereira is now out for this game after he got red carded in the Crystal Palace game. He's really the one who kind of pulls all the strings for West Brom. So you can see sort of Newcastle nicking this one 1-0. Callum Wilson goal. I think that's how this one will go down if it goes ahead. Then we move on to the Manchester derby. Hernandez versus Kevin De Bruyne. Who's going to win this one? It's really hard to tell, to be honest, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is actually 2-1 up over Pep in this fixture in the Premier League. Also, Manchester City really don't have a good record at Old Trafford. So, and this is one of them games where it doesn't really matter how both sides have been playing. So Manchester United have been allowing teams to sort of go up in the first half, then coming back. If they do that against City, I City are a team that just won't allow them to come back. So they really have to come out from minute one, Manchester United, and play a good game. I still, even though the history doesn't kind of represent it, you still kind of just lean towards City because they are such a good side. But I think it's going to be tight either way. Could be a sort of 1-0, 2-1. But that is, yeah, I do think United will score, but I think City will nab it. So I think 2-1 to Manchester City is my prediction for this game. Then we have Everton versus Chelsea, the two Blues, as it were. Chelsea have been on absolute fire of late. Everton, after a really strong start to the season, are on a little bit of a slump. Calvert-Lewin, though, still the absolute bowler that we all know and love. If he can bag a goal, I won't be too disappointed. But I've actually, we'll come on to the transfers, but I've done a little Chelsea transfer for this weekend, so maybe that won't be the best. But yeah, that being said, Everton's defence really doesn't look very good, so we can expect Chelsea to score goals this weekend. The likes of Timo Werner getting on the score sheet, Ziyech out injured, so you can expect Pulisic to come in, and Giroud probably does start this game after getting rested in the Champions League. So we can expect goals from Chelsea and maybe some goals from Everton. Chelsea have looked really good defensively though of late. Only one little mistake in the Leeds game, and Leeds did create some other opportunities, but other than that, Chelsea have looked very defensively sound so far this season. So with that being said, I think it's going to be a sort of 3-0, 3-1 Chelsea is what I would go for this game. Then Southampton, Sheffield United, a game probably not too many people are looking forward to watching, but those people who do have Southampton defensive assets, a lot of people actually have McCarthy and Carl Walker-Peters, will be definitely looking forward to this game, as it really should be a clean sheet for them. Sheffield United aren't really scoring at all this season. They've lost 10 games and drawn 1, so it really isn't looking good for them. They're going to need to, every game now for them is kind of must win, or must at least get a point, so they can put up some kind of fight to stop themselves getting relegated. But it just doesn't seem like they have the quality. Why they're not starting Ryan Brewster, I don't know. I mean, I've got him on fantasy team. He's obviously on the bench, but if he starts playing, that'd be absolutely wonderful. They've spent 20 odd million on him. He should be starting. He's a quality player. Get him on the pitch and they may actually stand a chance. But with the way Southampton played, Danny Ings now back from injury, scored a goal against Brighton. Very controversial, I must add. That penalty was questionable, to say the least. But you'd expect Southampton to go and win this one kind of 2 or 3-0, reasonably comfortable. Crystal Palace versus Spurs. Two teams that absolutely love to drop back. Roy Hodgson versus Jose Mourinho, two tactical masterminds of the game who basically just don't press and just sit back and allow. So you could allow other teams to come to them and to counter-attack. So you literally could see in this game both sets of defensives literally just in their own half for this game, because neither team will sort of actually want to have the ball, because it will be putting them at a disadvantage to get counter-attacked. So it'll be an interesting one. I think it'll be a tight one for that reason, as both teams like to kind of drop back and defend. But the cutting edge and just the prowess of the Spurs players, Kane x Son, it will give them the firepower to get this one over the line. But I think it'll be tight, but I think and scrappy. But a 1 or 2-0 Spurs is probably the realistic prediction. Then we got on Fulham versus Liverpool. And I mean, although, some people are saying, Scotty Parker has really started to shore up for Fulham. Their defence is looking a lot more solid. They only conceded 2 against Man City. Man City could have easily gone on banging 5 or 6 in that game. De Bruyne could have had a hattie. Sterling could have had a hattie. Jesus could have had a brace. They could have scored so many goals. And I think Liverpool have got the quality going forward. Salah, Mane, Firmino, so on, that they're just going to blow Fulham away, and this could easily be 3 or 4-0. Hopefully, Salah goes and does something. A lot of people will be hoping for that, because the captaincy armband will be well and truly, firmly on Salah for a lot of people. And I think, rightfully so, he should do well this weekend. So should Liverpool. 3-4-0 Liverpool is what I'd go for in this game. Ideally, personally, I'd like for them to nab a goal. That'll be nice. Scott Parker. That'll be nice. But 3 or 4-0 is the realistic prediction here. Arsenal, Burnley. I mean, Arsenal at the minute, they're in complete freefall under Arteta. He can't find. Well, he's playing a system that he wants to play. He's getting criticised, so he's changing up the system to appease the fans. Then he's going back to the system that he wants to play, and it's not working because there's no consistency there. And Arsenal are just in an absolute state at the minute. They really do need to win this game against Burnley if they've got any chance of just even a top half finish for the season. But Burnley are scrapping it out themselves at the minute and trying to stop themselves even being in a relegation battle, which they most definitely are at the minute. So Burnley are really going to make this game tough. I think it's going to be tight. It could be 0-0, 1 Burnley, 1 Arsenal. I think because of Arsenal's history, just the quality of players that they do have, I'm going to have to give them the respect in that sense and say that Arsenal will pip it, not 1-0, but I think it'll be very tight and Burnley could easily go and nab this game. On to the final game of the weekend, Leicester versus Brighton. Hoping this one could be a reasonably exciting game. I think Brighton will, the way they play, will actually play into Leicester's hands quite a lot, because Brighton, even when they're away from home, like to really come out, play with the ball. Lamptey and March getting down both wings. The likes of Lallana, who I don't know if he's back from injury yet, and Pascal Gross sort of pulling the strings in the midfield, getting them forward very, very nicely. We should see Maupay come back into the side, as attacking wise, they were definitely lacking a bit of cutting edge in that previous game against Southampton. But this game is set up very well for Jamie Vardy. If Brighton come out and play, they can counter-attack, lob that ball over to him, as we saw in the Sheffield United game when he scored that last minute winner. And also, Brighton have conceded the most penalties this season, and Jamie Vardy, or Leicester, has won the most, and Jamie Vardy has converted the most this season. So it's really setting up for Jamie Vardy to do nicely. But, you know, a lot of people are transferring him out for Salah this weekend, so I'm fine with that. But if you've kept him this week, I think it's a good week to have Jamie Vardy. So having looked at the fixtures, now let's take a look at the team. You see the defence here on the screen. That's my first transfer. Kurt Zouma has been transferred in for João Cancelo, because I don't think João Cancelo plays in this game. We'll be able to see tonight whether Cancelo plays in the Champions League. That'll maybe make me, if Walker plays in the Champions League, I'll maybe definitely transfer out Walker. I'm looking at a Walker to Jamal Lewis transfer. I know it's a big downgrade, but it will allow me to do transfers going forward, maybe allow me to bring in the likes of Bruno Fernandes. I'm definitely thinking about it. And then the fact that Newcastle are playing West Brom, and West Brom don't have their kind of key playmaker, makes me really want to make that transfer, because I just think it's one of the more guaranteed clean sheets of the weekend. And Newcastle haven't been too great defensively, but you would really expect them to get a clean sheet, and there's the potential of attacking returns as well for Jamal Lewis. Whereas Kyle Walker playing against United away at Old Trafford, yes, City do look a better side, but I do think United will still do something. So that is definitely a move I'm looking at doing. I think Kurt Zouma and Ben Chilwell look great for Chelsea. Not necessarily expecting a clean sheet for them this weekend. It would be nice if they did that though. And Kurt Zouma is currently the highest scoring FPL defender. He's backing goals like there's no tomorrow. And yeah, he just looks like a great option. Now in the midfield, and this is one of the nicest parts I like about my team, is just how cracked up this midfield is. The likes of Son, Salah, De Bruyne, all in that. Of course, Salah takes it captaincy, Albert, of course he does. We have Grealish actually playing this week. Hopefully you can actually do something after against the Wolves side, as I said, that hasn't actually looked too great of late. At least defensively, they've definitely been leaking some goals. So hopefully he can do something after a 2-week break. And also Martinez in goal, who I forgot to mention. They can have a clean sheet there. That'll be absolutely great. Zaha, I'm not really expecting too much from him, but it's just kind of a transfer that I'm banking and planning to move on a bit later. And I think, you know, he's going up in price. It's nice to have him. He could definitely do something, because he's the kind of player who can sort of make something out of nothing. So just a player I'm going to keep and not kind of rush a -4 out. Then finishing off the team, we have the boy Patty B, the fraud himself, playing against West Brom, and DCL playing against Chelsea. Obviously, ideally, I don't want Everton to actually score in this game, score with 2 Chelsea defenders. But you know, he's going to be in there for most of the season for me, because he's just so consistently scoring. Not picking up too many bonus points, but they'll come. And obviously, Patty B playing that Leeds side, getting so many expected goals per game. The big chances he gets is absolutely unbelievable. So the next haul is coming. It is on its way, especially with the fixtures that he has got coming up. He just had a little price increase as well, which is very nice to see, and just generally looks like a great option. Then to finish us off, we have our bench here, and you know, we've got Nathaniel Klein on there playing players. Nice to have a playing player on the bench just in case anything happens. Got Brewster there as well. I'm sort of holding out on Brewster. He gets to 1 point every week, but I do think Sheffield United will potentially, as we go forward, start him, because there'll be a lot of pressure on them to start him, because you know, he's a £20 million signing. Yes, he got injured a few weeks ago, and that's potentially why he's been slowly kind of moved back into the team. But also when he comes on, he looks fresh, he looks lively, he looks like he's got a decent little touch and not a bad shot as well. So I think he could definitely come into that Sheffield United side and offer something a little bit different, offer something new, and offer some goals as well. And obviously filling out the bench is like Dunn. I'm hoping potentially to take out Dunn and bring in Brian, who's the Sheffield United defender, for 4 mil. Unfortunately, Dunn has just had a price decrease, which is a bit unfortunate, because I could have brought in Brian just as an easy swap. Now I'm going to have to find that 0.1 mil from somewhere. But, you know, there are ways. There are definitely ways. So this has been a quick little look at the team selection for game week 12. Hoping that I'm going to do okay this week. Obviously, the captaincy, a lot relies on that Liverpool game. The captaincy with Salah, and hopefully he can do something. If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you in the next one.